Welcome back to some new petty revenge stories, where people have small victories over those that wronged them. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called Cherry Picking Work. My team works in a first in, first out workflow, doing the oldest work first. One of my teammates seems to cherry pick work by looking to see if there are nodes on another system to indicate the issues are easy before assigning them to herself. Since the work doesn't cycle in by date order, it's easy for the management to overlook this. However, as a team member who seems to get all the bad issues, it's easy to see the pattern. So this week I started putting nodes in the other system to make them look easy. Since that's what lazy member looks for, she took a huge amount of work for herself. Then I went into the other system and wiped out my notes like they were never there. Cue the whining about how difficult her week is. She can't give anything back because SharePoint stamps the date, time and ID of the person who modified an issue, so everyone would know what's going on. And she can't complain about the disappearing notes, since there's no way to prove they were ever there, and you aren't supposed to be looking at them before assigning your work. Being so extremely petty, I'll not touch any of the notes for the next few weeks. And once she goes back to her old habit, I'll just do it again. The next story is called Shift Exchange. This story took place around a decade ago now. I was working in fashion retail at the time and was responsible for the opening and closing of the store most of the time. An assistant manager role was available and I applied for it, only to have the position filled by an external hire due to them having more managerial experience. I was relatively upset at the news, since I had to teach her how to fill in the budget book, etc., but didn't let it show. Then I learned that this new assistant manager couldn't math. I had to fix the budget book every time she had the prior closing shift. I am bad at maths, but simple addition, subtraction and multiplication? I'm sure a kid can do better than that. I also found her peeling off her fake nails and just chucking them on the ground. I approached her on this and she shrugged, saying I was going to vacuum anyways. My birthday is in September and it's bad whenever it comes to asking for a day off, as it falls on school holidays, aka busy season. I was happy to work on my birthday itself, on a Wednesday, and wanted to take the weekend off in advance. I asked my manager if I could have the Saturday I was scheduled on off, and she was like, no. Unfortunately, it's going to be busy due to the school holidays and I need you in. I asked if I could exchange it with the assistant manager who was working with her on Wednesday, and she outright denied it, giving some stupid excuse. Well, by this point I was already frustrated at management, so I did the pettiest thing I could. I submitted my notice of resignation exactly 2 weeks prior to the Saturday I wanted off. In hindsight, I should have quit on the spot a day prior for ultimate pettiness. I hope either one of them enjoyed working that weekend. The third story is called A Small Win. In January of 2020, my partner and I and a mutual friend moved into an old house that was for rent. Beautiful heritage house, cheap too because it wasn't furnished and the paint needed work. No garage or carport. We adapted to the place fairly quickly in the first few weeks. Sometimes we would chat with our landlady. Sweet, kind, considerate, and showed interest in my wife's work. A painter. Then 2020 happened and we got stuck there. There's no washing machine and dryer yet, so we had to hand wash all our stuff and air dry them. The landlady was very helpful, provided us with clothespins and allotted us space in the yard for our clothes. Here comes her husband, the landlord. He turned off our water supply after we had filled the drums he provided for us. Okay, doable but annoying. Then at times there was no running water for 2 weeks and we had to really budget our water. He said he doesn't know why, but he has control over the main valve. We tried complaining to the local council, but they were too busy with everything else going on. We toughed it out for 6 months until the restrictions loosened. I was sitting on the porch just enjoying the view of the garden on a good morning. The landlord sits beside me and tells me stories of how he built a house with his father, inspiring stuff. The way he ended it though was the last snarky remark he made. Look at this house, it's making me money while you young ones don't have a house and are hard up. Well, no buying a house anytime soon for you though, given how low you rent this place from me. I just said yeah and continued to enjoy the view. The very next day I turned in my 2 weeks notice to the landlady that we were moving out. The landlord came out of his house and asked why we were moving out. Oh, I was having my house built while we were here. It's done now. The look on his face was priceless. A minor win, but the satisfaction was great. The last story is called Giving It Back. Recently, I celebrated my birthday with my besties back home and we had a video party together drinking some wine. I moved across the country a few years ago. It was a grand old time and eventually talk turned nostalgic and one of the gal pals brings up running into my ex-fiancé. So, to begin this saga, we need to turn the clock back a decade. When I, 21 at the time, was dating and then engaged to ex, 32 at the time. Hindsight, the age gap was the first red flag. Among many other flags, he waved like an entire color guard in a high school band. Like him, making much more than me. But I, in welding school full-time and working 2 jobs, paid for everything. After 6 months of being engaged, I found out he was cheating with an ex of his. So naturally, I called it quits. A few months pass, and when it's obvious I'm not coming back, ex starts a rabbit campaign to get his Amazon-bought $190 ring back. Mind you, I'm still at school full-time and working, so dropping the cheapo ring off was not at the top of my priorities. Eventually, I got tired of it, so I gave the ring back. And then some. I sheared some fixed steel plates, welded up a cube, dropped that ring in there, then welded that puppy shut. If you shook the cube, you could hear a delightful ting 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 of it rattling inside. I dropped it in the mail and went on my merry way and hadn't given it another thought until my birthday this month. According to Galpal, ex still has the cube and has not been able to get the Amazon ring out. He's still mad as heck and likes to rant about the ordeal to this day. I regret nothing and I'm filled with joy knowing I've been irritating him for 10 years now. Thanks for watching the video to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.